And welcome to this quick course on Feng Shui and using color. I was going to do this with the Chaldean numerology and wearing different colors and how that can actually really affect your luck. So that would be wearing clothes and colors where you affect your surroundings and change things, where Feng Shui is more using color in the surroundings to change the effect on you. So let's get into this. Feng Shui is the art of placement. You can use it in your home or your office. I'm going to see how fast I can get through this and make this a short video. And I haven't taught this in a long time, so I'm practicing on you. I think of Feng Shui as acupuncture for the home, and you can align yourself with the elements and your space with the elements of nature. And if you're practicing stewarding the land, then you can align with the land as well. So your surroundings or your environment programs your thinking unconsciously or consciously. I mean, you can look at a mess and go, oh, this is a mess. And it's like suddenly you're stressed out. Um, so Feng Shui is concerned with the flow of qi, which is life force. And that qi can be active or passive. It's also concerned with using the 5 elements. We'll get into that. And the 8 directions. This is the compass method, using 8 directions. And it also uses cures. So if an area is not fitting with an element or out of harmony or alignment with the elements, then it'll need a cure or a fix. All right, so our fix that we're going to talk about today is colors. So Feng Shui was used in China 4,000 years ago. And like I said, we're using the compass method. So the first thing you have to do is identify the problems in your life. Has your life changed since you moved into a new space? What area of your life are you concerned with? So we can look at that here with the directions. So if you have a blueprint of your home or whatever you're doing, your office, apartment, whatever you're doing, or if you can draw up something that resembles your space, stand in the very center with a compass, and you figure out which direction is north and what room lands in the north, and so on. And here we have the things that concern each direction. So north has to do with peace, sex life, spirituality, sleep. Northeast is self-motivation, competitiveness, inheritances, life direction, and so on. So that's the first thing you have to decide is there an area of my life that's been suffering? And or since I moved into a new space, has it something that was fine before is now suffering? So you figure out what's the most important thing. And the center is always important. So that's like one of the most powerful areas of a space. And it represents the health of all of these areas, not only your health, but the health of all these areas. Okay. So the next thing you want to do is decide if everything in the home seems to be okay, then is it something with the landscape outside, or are you going to try to deal with one or both, or where are you going to start here? So you want to assess the chi flow next. That's how light is going to move through the space, and it comes in through doors and windows, less so through walls, and then it moves throughout the space. And mirrors can also disperse the light or help it move around. That chi is blocked by clutter, dust, dampness, electronics, synthetic fabrics and materials, and so on. And then you're going to come up with a cure, which usually involves placement change of something, or using color, materials and patterns, shapes. And of course, like I said, we'll be using color today and we'll be choosing one area, but we're just really going to zip through this and I'm going to let you do it on your own. So when a chi flows into a certain space, you have to determine whether that space is balanced. Does it feel too active in that space? Is there so many windows and so much sunlight coming in, it's almost overactive? Or is it like a dormant dead space or a dark closet where there's no energy at all? And that will help you to determine what you need to do with that. You know, whether you need to choose a light color, which will lighten up the space, or a darker color, which will calm it down. And whether that space needs to be more relaxed. So, for example, if it's a bedroom, maybe you don't want a lot of active chi energy and there's a sun blazing in the window of the bedroom, you might want to calm the space with a lighter color, a more relaxed color. And when we talk about the color, maybe the shade of it. So, like a bright red could be more active and stimulating than maybe a rust red or something like that. All right. And then you want to choose colors of that element, and we'll get into this here, and or the previous element or the one that follows it, so that you will either enhance the chi, calm down the chi, or keep it balanced. All right, so let's look at this real quick, and I'm going to let you decide some of this on your own. But as we look at the different areas, make sure I'm sharing the right thing. Let's say you chose the South, which has to do with fame, success, passion, social life, reputation. And you really wanted to focus on that area. And when you stood in the center of your home, the South was the direction of, I'm just checking my settings here. The South is the direction of, I don't know, let's say the bedroom. And here we have south, purple is the color, fire is the element. So if you want to balance that space, let's say you've got, uh, let me pull this up real quick because I'm going to give you an example here. I hope I didn't close that out. I think I did. That's all right. All right, I want to show you this. This is just simply the elements and how they interact. So we said that the south is fire. So we see the little fire symbol here at the top. And if we look at this outer circle here with the arrows, this is how each of the elements feed each other. So fire actually feeds soil or earth energy. Earth feeds metal energy. Metal feeds water energy, and water feeds wood. So if we wanted to enhance that southern direction, that space, we would want to have the fire color there, which is purple. So either that can be put on the walls or it could be the main color, whatever I'm trying to say, in the room when you chose colors for the room. Now, what if you have, let's just say, red in there? Well, red is a metal color, not a fire color. So that could be draining off that fire energy or aggravating things. All right, so let me get this pulled up here. All right, so hopefully you were able to screenshot some of these so you can just do this on your own. But we're focused on purple, south, fire energy. So what we want to do is to, if it seems like that space is pretty balanced, we said bedroom, so we kind of want to keep it calm. So we have more of a lavender color in there rather than a dark or an eggplant color. We have it kind of a light, relaxing color. Um, it feels relaxed. So the space feels pretty good. We've got purple in there already. And maybe we have some fire shapes and things like that, which we're not going to get into. But what you would want to do then is keep that going, support that fire energy. And let's say you didn't have any of that. It just felt like there was no fire energy in the space at all. Something you can do to enhance it or bring up that, um, like add to the color, add to the south energy, the fire energy, is to use the element color that feeds it. And in this case, tree energy feeds fire. If you think of firewood, the wood burning and it feeds the fire. So that would be the southeast here with a little tree, or the east direction. We can see here the colors, greens and blues. So what you could do in that bedroom is bring in some greens and blues, and that will enhance that southern energy, that fire energy there. Let's say you have too much fire energy or it feels too active for the space and you want to tone it down, you're going to use the element, and I'll show you again here on the chart. You're going to use the element that will drain off some of that energy. Okay. And we were just talking about this. So fire feeds soil or earth. So if you bring in some earth colors, then it's going to drain off some of that overactive energy and it's going to calm that space down a little bit because the soil is draining off the fire because the fire feeds the soil. And then if we go back this other direction, like we were talking about, the wood over here feeds the fire. So if you want to enhance that space and enhance your reputation, your all the things with the southern direction, then you would bring in the blues and the greens. So let's just pull this other one up one last time. Hopefully this is making sense. So there we go. We've got purple. We could bring in the blues and the greens, or we could bring in the earth colors, which see the little earth here. We've got the northeast and the south and west, yellow to brown, brilliant white, black, orange, gold. Those tones you could bring into that space to tone it down. So that would be your color theme for your bedroom. And you'll notice also on here we have some whites. We have off-white to cream for the north. We have bright white or brilliant white for the earth colors. And for the metal colors, a gray white. So there's different white tones. You can even buy white that has a color tone to it, like has a pinkish tone. And when you put it on the walls, it will look pink, even though it looks white in the paint can, but it will bring a pink tone to the walls. So you really want to pay attention to your whites when you're purchasing paint, if you're going to use paint to do this. And I often do that. If you're allowed to paint, it can change the room really quickly. So hope you found this helpful, and I will be back with more Tarot Plus videos where we explore other topics outside of tarot. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and I'll see you soon.